What keeps you awake at night? That's the question I want to ask you today. What keeps you awake at night? What causes you not to get a good night's sleep? Now, the answer to that question could be any number of things. It could be something that you watched on TV before you went to bed that night. It could be something going on in your life, like a relationship problem, financial problem, something that happened at work. It could be some kind of tragedy in your life or in someone else's life that's close to you that has kept you awake. So literally, there are all kinds of things that could keep us awake. During this coronavirus pandemic, maybe your schedule has been interrupted, which has caused your sleep schedule to get interrupted, which has caused you to wake up at strange hours in the night, or maybe you've got extra worries about the uncertainties in our life right now because of this pandemic that's caused you to not get a good night's sleep. And so there's all kinds of things that causes us to not get a good night's sleep, literally hundreds of thousands of things that could cause us to keep us awake at night. But let me read to you something from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 24, and it says, "When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet." Now, I don't know about you, but I want to have sweet sleep. I want to have sweet dreams. And that's what I want to have, and I want you to have those too. And so the writer of Proverbs is writing in the greater context of a discussion about wisdom and God. And probably the most famous verse in Proverbs, one of them anyway, is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, which says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Fear in this context doesn't mean a phobia or fear that something or someone is out to get us kind of thing, but it is having a healthy awe, reverence, respect for something, in this case, God. So when we have a healthy fear, reverence, respect, awe for God, that's the beginning of wisdom. And that kind of wisdom will give us peace of mind, which ultimately will spill over into our rest and give us sweet sleep. Now, obviously, there are things in this world, because we live in a fallen world, that interrupts that. And so I want to talk about one example of that from the life of Elijah that I think will help us. Elijah was a powerful prophet of God, a powerful man. He was in tune with God, and he was able to call fire down from heaven. In fact, he had just had a major defeat of the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. He had called fire down from heaven. He ultimately, he utterly humiliated them. And then what happened, as soon as Jezebel, the evil queen Jezebel, got wind of this, she got word to Elijah that she was out to get him. So what does Elijah do? Instead of facing Jezebel, he runs as far away as he could. And out of sheer exhaustion, he sleeps. But an angel of the Lord wakes him up, feeds him, he sleeps again. Angel of the Lord wakes him up again, feeds him, and he sleeps a second time. And in that second time after he wakes up, that is able to sustain him for the next 40 days. I believe that he got some sweet sleep during that time, because he also needed some assurances as well, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And Elijah, because of the fear of Jezebel, it caused him to want to have his life ended at that point. He didn't want to go on with life. He thought that he was the only one like him left, the only one that had not bowed their knees to Baal. But God informed him that he wasn't alone, but there were 7,000 others just like him who had not bowed their knees to Baal. And so Elijah was not alone. And not only did Elijah get one touch from God, but he got a second touch from God. And then God spoke to him, took him to a special place, Mount Horeb, which is the same place that God took Moses and showed him his glory. And maybe it was in the exact same spot that God spoke to Elijah in that still small voice. And so what happened was, God had silenced Jezebel in his life. And so what happens in our life, if we want to get a good night's sleep, we have to silence Jezebel in our life. We have to silence. What do I mean by that? Jezebel is not just a person, but is also a spirit as well. And so what is that spirit? It's the spirit of manipulation and control that happens with other people in our life or situations and circumstances. It is a seducing spirit. Jezebel was a seducer. And so because of that spirits, those kinds of things happen in our own life, they need to be silenced. And when Jezebel is silenced, we can hear the still small voice of God, and we'll know that we're not alone, but there are many others just like us, and God is looking out for us. And he will speak to us in that still small voice. And he won't just give us one touch, but he will even give us a second touch when we need it. So may you tonight have Jezebel silenced in your life so that you can get a good night's sleep, sleep all the night through, and may you hear that still small voice of God in your life. God bless. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.